good golly. So sorry I'm late. There's a duck out in the driveway. Whoa. And it's very cold. And Carlina's not coming because she's not silly. She's staying inside the heat, which is probably the most sensible thing. It is extremely slippy. And I don't need any extra accidents. Oh. Oh dear. So, let me get this. Oh, good gosh. I've got to find this thing. Right, here we go. So, there was no job today. And because I think it was rainbow, and it was either going to be today or another day. So it wasn't today, which was probably quite fortunate because we had the vet on Meredith today, and there's just been lots going on. She's been very busy all weekend. She's some time with Colby, which was lovely, up in Maine, and she's been getting on to drag lighting and is also trying to get on top of this Christmas card problem. And I'm so sorry, we can only apologise. The Christmas cards, with the best intention, we use the addresses that we have on file with Mosaic, because as I'm sure you know, we don't get addresses from Facebook, and it's very difficult actually trying to get an accurate and up-to-date list of addresses, to the extent that in the mail today there's a card that's been returned because it wasn't able to, the person wasn't at the address that we'd sent it to. So it looks like cards are beginning to come back. Unfortunately we're in a situation where we depend upon the most up-to-date addresses on the Mosaic board, and because we don't actually have a facility to record people's addresses otherwise, so it's just such a difficult thing. I'm actually beginning to wonder whether or not, on the whole, what we should try and do next year is, as well as sending out cards, also put out a virtual card, because it's just so difficult. You don't want to leave people out. You don't want people to feel that you didn't send a card because you didn't feel they were important enough. It's a really difficult undertaking. And from that point of view, we would have hoped that we've managed to send cards out to everybody within our community. It's obviously not been the case. Please be reassured that it definitely wasn't our intention, but it is tricky. Just trying to have the correct level of communication with people, and a lot of people don't have their addresses registered, etc. So yes, not the easiest, I wouldn't have said. This weekend it was busy. Hugo went to his new home on Sunday midday, which is lovely. He is going to be an 8-year-old riding horse, and he also is going to be ridden by this 8-year-old's grandmother. So he's the loveliest boy. We've had him for 4 years, and we're absolutely delighted for him. He has another companion horse. He has goats and chickens, I think. So that should be absolutely lovely for him. You will have noticed that Flower has gone over to Meredith. She went to have her Coggins blood pulled and her vet cert, and Dr. Parrott said that she is in phenomenal condition. Her body score is great. Her feet are in wonderful condition. and yes, she is a spicy raisin. So we had to try for the vet there and the coffins. We have to take pictures and try to get her to stand still. We take a picture of each side, side on, both sides, and then with the face. And it was probably she wasn't for playing the game, put it that way. She was fidgeting, she was all over the place, and she was a bit of a handful. So that was super fun. And then once she'd finished with her session with Dr. Parrott, I put her out in the sheep paddock. She's very often been out with Enzo and with Ted and all the sheep and Rocco the donkey. Never had a problem until today, when we did have a problem. And Enzo decided that he did not like Fleur and he was going to chase her all around the paddock, at which point she probably slipped and he went, oh, oops. And so I had to remove her from the paddock and put her in with the two bigger horses. So that was super fun. And I had Cushing's blood work filled for one of the horses. We don't think he has Cushing's, but we're just being doubly sure. And also we had our little Peanut checked because she doesn't look skinny, but when you actually examine her properly, she's very prominent hip bones and really doesn't have enough weight sitting on her to be keeping her going. So she's been fed morning and night time with rehydrated pellets and a bit of balancer. And the reason for that is that she apparently has had her teeth floated, which is where they remove all the sharp bits from her teeth. So she's had her yearly tooth procedure done within the last 7 to 8 months, and they also appear to have taken out her molars at the same time, which means that she really struggles to masticate the hay because she doesn't have back teeth. And the reason that's so important is that hay and grass, to get the nutrients out of the long stems of hay and grass, you have to masticate it because you need to break down the cellulose. Otherwise, you don't get into the nutrition part of it. So what we have her on is these pellets. When you rehydrate them, you can see it's all chopped up already, so it's already masticated. And that's how we're going to maintain her weight and condition. So that was very interesting, and you always like to have a glance over everyone else, and everyone else is looking fit and healthy. So that's good to know. And it's very cold. We are waiting. We had, on Meredith in particular, we had one of the big water troughs that was this high, and I'm not quite sure who it was, but somebody filled it up. The water has frozen, and as it's frozen, as you know, I think when water freezes, it increases volume by about 10%. So this is a massive water trough, and it is now sitting like a cupcake with icing on top. So the water we've got a good sort of like 3 or 4 inches of where the water is raised above the level of the water trough. It is solid. It is not moving anywhere. And 2 of the other barns also have totally and utterly solid water troughs. So I am keeping an eye on the weather, and I think Wednesday it looks like it's going to go up to 44 degrees, at which point I'm hoping the more temperate weather will allow the frost and the ice to release from around the outside of the trough, so I can actually get them tipped out, and we'll start all over again. But honestly, water, it might be the life force, but goodness gracious, trying to keep everybody with flowing water is really very tricky when the weather's like this. It was about 12 degrees last night, and I can tell you it is still feeling bitterly cold right now. Thoroughly unpleasant, but hey, it's winter, so I'm not sure what else to expect. And the ducks are flying about all over the place. As I was coming over in just to visit with Carlene quickly, the the weather, you know, the ducks are, they just don't know if they're coming or going. So I did chase the duck around the driveway for a little bit. Carlina's delighted to have received a shipment of her snap. I have 3 people who I'm going to try and get a little box of the, oh gosh, what are they called? The monkey tips out too. I do have that somewhere in my brain on a bit of paper. It's just, like everything, we're all chasing our tails and running around in circles. We have, coming up this week, we have his, I think Carlene and Janine are going to court on Thursday. Janine is hoping to be able to travel down to Aiken on Friday. And there's a job, I think, tomorrow. So these are all things that we have to accomplish while dealing with the absolutely Baltic weather. Oh, by a humbug. Anyway, I have this lovely box here, which I'm just going to open. Oh. So it does not say who it has shipped from. Oh, lovely. Oh, very exciting. Oh, it just doesn't say. Maybe if you sent it, you could let me know in the chat. Goat treats for everybody's favourite goat. What we've got here. Ooh. Apple snap, thank you very much for our badly behaved donkeys. Oh, lovely. Look. So these are super. So there's lots of different sort of like flake cereal treats for the ducks and the chickens, and let's say chicken and goats. Oh, chicken duck goodies. So that's lovely, thank you. These are really super at this time of year because when we have such low temperatures, oh, and here's everybody's favourite peeping carrots for the bunnies. Thank you. So thank you very much for sending those in. These are actually so important at this time of year because when it is as cold as it is, these little bits and pieces with corn and different cereals in it, they help the animals actually to generate extra heat, and therefore it keeps them just slightly warmer. That's why when you're buying chicken food, it's good to have sort of like cracked corn in the winter because it produces heat, and not to bother using it in the summer because when we don't want to provide any extra heat. So thank you very much. Those are much appreciated. Now, oh, I've got glasses. Aha! Oh, that's much better. Right, here we go. I know this dead space doesn't really do anything until about 5 o'clock every day. Although I will say to you, I have glanced in here on occasion and watched the mice at play. Little stinkers. Now, it is exceptionally cold at the moment. I think it's only about 22 just now, but oof. Yeah. Oh, Ruby Sue is in her new barn in Boxford. So what happens with Ruby was Claudette took on Ruby. She found herself without a home, and Claudette very kindly took over responsibility for her care. But the reason that came about was because the barn where Ruby actually lived, the house had been sold, so there was no longer going to be a space for Ruby. And it left her rather suddenly looking for a home. So Claudette and Ruby came here, which gave them a bit of space and time to go and find another facility where they were going to be happy. Judy is just about 10 minutes away from here, so that's lovely. And Claudette, I think, is thoroughly enjoying her new barn, so that's nice for both of them. And it was lovely having them, but you know, all good things come to an end. That's actually a really good point. You see, I haven't sent Christmas cards for well over a decade, purely because I always used to feel, well, firstly, I wasn't very organised, and secondly, I kind of felt that there were things that, you know, maybe we didn't value them, maybe that's what the problem was, but they kind of like just went out and then it was just something else to deal with, you know, sort of like recycling wise. And that is actually a very good point, Karen. You know, the situation is, you know, postage is expensive, and you know, producing the cards expensive. So these are things that we probably will have to take into account, because you know, life has moved on and everything just seems to be online and virtual. But then again, say that it is nice to receive things through the mail, so we'll have to think about it. Flower is not leaving the farm per se. She's going to Janine's farm in South Carolina, and she'll be part of the program down there. And I think she's going to be down with Angus, so that's lovely. Oh, so this is the person who's taking Will is Dana. Dana has worked with service dog. He's worked with Carleen and Janine for a very long period of time, and what he will do is he will take her overnight and then bring her back during the day. So it means that he will get her into continue probably in the way that Judy deals with Willow when she's at home. And I know that Dana and Judy have been in contact, so there will be continuity of care. So that will be very nice for both Judy to know while she's away, and also for Willow. I am not going to Aiken with Janine at the moment. And Boom is not going with Janine. Thank you, Mark. These glasses came from TJ Maxx. I'll tell you, Nick bought them, not me, and I stole them, and they actually worked really well. Oh, thank you very much, Mary, for that box of treats. They're very much appreciated. And you certainly do get treats for all the animals, so there will not be any favouritism. Yes, it's very difficult. You know, there's so much going on with all the animals, and the weather not being great. So it's probably best that one of us stays behind. But you also have to appreciate that for Janine to drive down, let's get these things off now. For Janine to drive down, particularly in unpleasant weather conditions, with two horses, a mini horse, and two chickens on board, and the dog. You know, it's far better having a second person safety wise, and you know, it's also a very long trip to do by yourself. So it's not very pleasant, because what happens is you stop at service stations, and you have to go get water and water all the horses when you stop. And you know, when we're traveling down together, we stop every 2 or 3 hours, and we have to check the horses, make sure they're A-OK, and it's a lot of work for one person. But you know, I suppose Janine is more than capable of dealing with that. But it's nice to have backup. Otherwise, she'll just sit and listen to country power ballads the whole way. Oh. No. So, I'm trying to think of anything else exciting that's happened. We have just been trying to keep ourselves floating on top of the water. It's very definitely trickier when it comes to very cold weather, and everybody slows down, the water doesn't flow, and it's just thoroughly unpleasant. I'm going to go after MailChat and go to the supermarket because that's something I've been putting off for days. And we're now at food, so we've got to go and get something to eat for dinner this evening. But we've had a busy time because we've had lots of teenagers staying in the house. And that's always fun. And it's terrible because they don't go to bed early and they're up till about 3 in the morning. And that's very unpleasant when you're used to getting up at 6 every morning. So it's never fun, really. But such is life, and we'll just get on with it. So, I can't see. Oh, there is a question here. That generator does not need to be inspected. These are just generators that you plug in and you use as a source to plug things into, and they're powered by gas, so they're fine as long as you remember to use it outside and not inside. Otherwise, you get a tremendously bad and very dangerous build-up of carbon monoxide. So that's just a standard outdoor piece of equipment, so that will be fine. The pellet stove, Janine is working on it, and in fact that's why Janine has not been able to leave, because she's making sure that Carleen is totally and utterly accounted for before she does go. Oh. Yes, I think I always like to let the animals know that I'm in the barn, because otherwise I sometimes feel like you sneak up on them, they get a little bit of a fright. So I do come in and say, "Good morning, everyone," and they're all like, "Oh, here she is again, chatter all morning." I think is it starting to snow again? I don't need to know that. Thank you, Carla. The voice of doom. Dana, one of the problems that we've had with food and Mandy has been the fact that they're so very, very bonded, and they really need to be kept separately. So if Dana had Boom, he would also have Willow, and Willow can be a little bit of a handful as well, just because she's a puppy. So I think it's a bit tricky, and it's just one of these. It's one of these things, I think we're very fortunate in that the fact that Janine and I have both come from rescue. We're kind of used to bringing animals in, and everything isn't just quite right. We always find a solution to it and find a way forward. So I suppose we don't really think very much of it when they don't come in and they're perfectly ready to go, because let's face it, I'm sure you all remember feral donkeys coming in, feral mini horses, and feral mules. We've had quite a large share of the feral market, shall we say, and animals that just aren't very comfortable with handling. So I suppose we forget that we always look at situations and assess them and see what's the best way forward for that animal. And maybe other people say, "Oh gosh, that's an absolute mess." Whereas we probably go, "Okay, that's an interesting one. Let's see what we can get done." So I suppose it's just a different way of looking at it. So we'll get it all sorted, and we'll move forward. And you have to remember that we have to work alongside. Well, it's not we have to work alongside, and we're respectfully working alongside the previous owners as well. So that's important, because everybody has to be agreed, and that just helps us all moving forward. And I did notice that Julie was here on the weekend, which was lovely. She's been away over the Christmas period and is now back, so Woody is very excited about that. So that's just lovely. Sterling, seems to have reverted back to being a better behaved boy. We're going to be working with Walter work and looking at on the ground manners. He's very young, so he's probably not had much in the way of input. I do think it's absolutely lovely, though, the way that he and Delight they're just a little team. She looks out for him and he looks to her for reassurance. So that's really quite lovely. And the donkeys, they're just donkeying on. They are not particularly enormous fans of the cold and snowy and icy weather, but they're getting on and they're doing just fine. Elvis he's back in the stall with the big stall. He's back there at night time with Miss Jenny, and everybody else is just going on. Apart from those ducks, Nick's ducks are misbehaving. They're all over the place, and I'm not sure what you can do for ducks that like to fly. So we're all getting there, and the house dogs are all doing beautifully. So Sybil's spending a lot of time keeping herself nice and warm and sleeping. So and Wanda sits in Carlene's lap and keeps warm up there. And Larky, he's just larking. He's just getting on with life, so he's quite happy too. So, unless there's any more questions, which I'll just, oh my gosh. I've got a new phone, and I've probably explained this before. I'm having real problems tapping buttons that I shouldn't. And I've lost all the questions now. I really, honestly, am not good at this. It's far too complex. No. There's nothing 100% set in stone with Mandy and Boom quite yet, so we're still working out what's best for both of those dogs and then moving forward with that. And you know, that's just one of these situations is that you have to let them settle down and then assess where you're at with them and what's the best thing you can do moving forward. So that's the sort of stage we're at the moment. Okay, so we will be back tomorrow. No, we will be spending the night, I think, with Dana and then come back for during the day while Dana's at work. So that's what the plan. You know, our plans never stay the same. That's the plan for today. So we'll take it from there and see how long that one it's not set in stone. Let's go for that. Subject to change. So I will speak with you all tomorrow. I'm going to go and brave the supermarket and can't think of anything much more fun than that. Okay. So night. Oh. I need to go and find my gloves.